What's up, y'all? We're back out here in the garage for what should be a pretty interesting video for some of y'all. As you can see, obviously it's an e-bike video, but this time instead of just a regular old review here, because this is a model that I've basically already done, I'm actually going to do some upgrades on it that several people have asked about and have mentioned that they would like to see on these bikes. Now, the bike we're looking at here, as you can see, is the Aipas M1 Pro X-Terrain. These are some really nice e-bikes in my opinion. For the price, you can get these things for under $950 with my discount code. I think that's a heck of a deal for what you're getting. 26-inch fat tired e-bike. They're claiming 1800 watt peak on these motors, and it has some serious get up and go to it. It's got some really nice torque and some really good top speed, like 36, 38 mile an hour. It's full suspension. So again, in my opinion, a very good deal. Now, as you can see behind it, this is the one I've already done the review on. This is the M2 Pro. The only difference in these two bikes right here is the M2 is a step over. It's got that bar on the top. The M1 here, you can see obviously is a step through, but everything else is exactly the same on these two bikes. So I'm not gonna have you sit through a full review again. Obviously it would be the same thing. What I am gonna do though is get a really quick run out here in the back, and I'll show y'all just to kind of get a baseline feel. What we're gonna be upgrading on it today is the brakes. This is one thing that a lot of people have mentioned, and myself included. I talked about it in the review. These are mechanical brakes. With a bike this heavy and with this much speed, you probably do want some hydraulic brakes. Now, don't get me wrong, these will stop the bike, but you obviously have to apply way more pressure, and it's going to take more time to stop it than it would with hydraulic brakes. So we're going to take care of that issue on the cheap and very easily. And the other thing I'm going to upgrade, which I personally don't really feel like it needs, is the rear shock here. Now, this rear shock is just a basic coil shock. You can adjust this here if you get you a spanner wrench. You can actually adjust it. You can loosen it without the spanner wrench, just depending on how loose it is. Like I say, for me, being like 205, 210 pounds in between there, it feels really nice to me because I wouldn't want it a whole lot softer, but I realize some people may want it softer. Again, you can just loosen this one right here. So personally, I don't know that I would upgrade this, but some people have mentioned it, so we're going to change this out to a nice air shock in the rear. And then the last kind of major upgrade, I guess you would call it, I'm a really tall guy, so I have to have my seat like on the lowest position, which means I can't really get effective pedal strokes just because my knees are going to be so high, which also makes the distance between my seat height and my handlebar height very small. So I do have to lean over just a little more than I would like, even with longer hands. So I've actually got an adjustable riser here that's going to bring it up, and I can bring it back some. So that should make it way more comfortable. For me, that would be more important because being a tall guy than the air shock on the rear would. So let's get us a really quick baseline with the stock brakes here and the stock rear shock. Just, you're not going to be able to see a whole lot. This isn't going to be very scientific, but I want to just have it fresh in my mind so I can tell y'all how I feel about it. I just realized one thing I can actually do is kind of give you a view of how much the shock articulates, you know, the stock one. So you can see with me at my weight, I mean, it's actually not bad. It's got some really nice movement on it, and I personally wouldn't want it too much softer. You can see if I was hitting some good sized bumps out there, I mean, that's pretty decent for my size. All right, here we go with the M1 Pro, stock everything, brakes, no adjustable riser, stock rear suspension. So we'll do the brake test here now. This is a pretty steep hill I'm on, so I'm just gonna try to come to a stop down here. I mean, I'm hard pressed, so you can see there, I mean, I'm squeezing pretty hard, and it comes to a stop, like no doubt about it. But I mean, it takes a minute. Now going uphill, obviously, there you can see, and it didn't lock it up like you can, you know, with the hydraulic brakes. You get those hydraulic brakes and you mash those really, really hard, and it'll lock this thing up, and then you can skid the tires out. Now, let me get up to the top of this hill, and then we'll do a speed pass and hit the brakes at the bottom, and then we'll go off-road back there just a little bit. This is all throttle. I'm gonna stop pedaling. So 16.5 mile an hour uphill. I mean, this is definitely a powerful motor. I don't know about the claims as far as 1800 peak, you know, you have to make your own judgment there, but it's definitely powerful. All right, let's bring it back the other way down this hill. I'll get up to top speed, and then we'll hit the brakes and show y'all what we get. So 22, 20, we should get 36, 38 mile an hour with this thing. once we get on flat. Oh, here we go. Yeah, 32, 3, 5, 36 and a half. So let's get the brakes from 36 and a half. I'm full on them right there. I mean, you can see it did lock them up down at the bottom. So again, the hydraulic brakes aren't absolutely necessary because, I mean, most people aren't going to be doing this, but I guess it does give you a little extra peace of mind that you can lock them up just a little bit easier, and you wouldn't have as much fade from the mechanical or from hydraulic like you do with mechanical. All right, let's do just a little quick run down this trail so I can kind of feel what the suspension feels like. Now, all of this is going to be very subjective, obviously, nothing scientific at all. So take this for what it's worth, but I'll give you my honest opinion of it because, again, I'm not looking to sell y'all any accessories. You do what you do what you want there. Oh, I picked up a stick down there. Let me get that stick. It is stiff on the back now. Don't get me wrong, but again, I'm a heavy guy. Up here is going to be even better. So y'all can probably hear kind of the vibration in my voice a little bit. Oh, that's a little rough right there for sure. And you can hear, I mean, the chains kind of slapping in the back just because we're getting a lot of vibration. Now, again, as I showed you, you can loosen that up, but it's only going to be able to loosen up so much. So this air shock probably is going to make a pretty good difference. Now, this is a good little demonstration on the brakes too. You can hear them. They're a little squeaky, and going down, well, they're going to squeak a lot more going downhill. But I mean, again, if I try to stop right here, well, I'll go full pin on the brakes here. I mean, you can see, I'm not saying these brakes are bad at all. Like, in my opinion, it's not a necessity, but again, I guess it will give you just a little extra peace of mind. You know, now stuff like this, you would generally stand up on, so it's kind of not really a good representation, I guess, but I'm a sit down kind of guy. I'm looking to cruise with these things, so I'm just gonna stay sitting so y'all can see or kind of hear, I guess. Or I can basically feel, and then once I replace it, I can kind of tell you the difference or what I feel like the difference is. This is a little rough right here. See, I mean, this isn't bad at all. For my weight, y'all, I mean, it's, you know, it's a little stiff and it's a little bouncy for sure. Maybe the air shock will take the bounce out, but for me, this isn't bad at all, just like it is. All right, let's get to work here. This video is going to be pretty long probably, so I'll put some timestamps down below if you want to skip to different parts of it. Just really quick, I want to show you what we got here as far as the upgrades. Obviously, I think I already showed you here the hydraulic brake setup. These were sent to me by Aipas. This air shock was actually sent to me by Aipas. The other stuff I purchased myself. And again, you know, I'm not trying to sell y'all these upgrades. I'll leave some links to Amazon. Obviously, you can get them from Aipas, but you can also get them from Amazon, these exact ones, for a pretty good bit less. So I'll leave some links below for all this stuff. But there's your hydraulic brakes. Again, those were sent to me by I had actually already got these exact same ones because I was going to put them on the M2 myself. So I actually bought these and they're exactly the same. These were only 37 bucks. Now this is a hybrid. You've still got a mechanical pull here. You know, you see your mechanical pull, but you've got hydraulic inside here. So should be a really, really nice upgrade. I also picked up some little end caps here for your brake cable because you're going to have to cut the stock one off. So you don't really have to have these. You can use a fishing sinker. You can put some solder on it, but these are pretty cheap. So I'll leave links to Amazon for all this stuff. Then jumping back over here, this is the air shock they sent. Really nice looking air shock. You can see you can add or release it right there. So should go right in there, no problem. And then here's my adjustable riser, my stem here. You can see that's going to add a lot of height and it's going to bring it into me. So that should be really nice. I've got a couple other things here too. A couple different types of mirrors, some tube and tire repair stuff that I want to show you. A nice little pump that I personally use and a seat upgrade, which I'm actually not going to do on this Aipas because it's not something that's needed. They got a nice cushy seat on these, but this is a very nice C9 seat that I actually picked up myself from Amazon. I've got another bike that definitely needs an upgrade, so I'm gonna probably put that on it. The first thing I'm actually gonna do is flip this bike upside down just so I ain't gotta be on my knees messing with them brakes and stuff. These things come in really handy for flipping the bike upside down and working on it. It's just little cheap plastic kind of risers there with elastic straps that you put on your grips when you flip it upside down, so you're not resting worrying about damaging all your stuff. Those, again, I got those myself off Amazon, so I'll leave links. All these links I'm leaving are affiliate links just so you'll know ahead of time. Usually I just hold the rear brake and then just roll it forward a little bit, hit that rear brake again, and then just use the rack really. Keeps it from rolling, and boom. Just like that, and then you see your little orange things keep your screen or anything off the ground. All right, this really is a very simple job. You shouldn't be intimidated by doing this at all. Just very minimal, handy type skills and a couple little tools. Matter of fact, you really don't need any other tools if you just have the little repair or kit or installation kit or assembly kit, I should say, that comes with all these e-bikes. I mean, you can see you can do everything you need to do, minus a couple little cutting jobs with the tools that came with it. It's a 5mm hex though, just in case. I'm going to use my sockets and stuff. You've only got just a few little things to undo here. You've got the two main bolts. You got one here and one here. That's holding the actual caliper to the mount here. So you leave the stock mount. So you're going to take both of these bolts out. You're going to have to loosen this bolt because that's what's holding your cable there. That's still going to be used. You still cable actuate like I showed you. That's one of the big downsides of full mechanical brakes because you have to squeeze them so hard sometimes that you start getting cable stretch and you'll have to adjust them out. You know, you're still going to use the cable, but since you don't have to squeeze as hard with the hydraulic help, you shouldn't get nearly as much cable stretch. Now you will notice you've got some spacers, a couple different size spacers, washers, whatever, on this bolt to keep this caliper and keep the pads kind of centered on your rotor surface there. You can see where it's been wearing. I mean, that's pretty much perfect right there. You don't want it coming too far in, obviously, or you'll drag the top up there on that little gap, but then you don't want it too far out where it's not getting full contact with that rotor surface. So you're just going to have to kind of play with it. We'll see. It may need these same spacers. It may need less, may need more. We'll find that out once you get it off and put the new caliper on there. So let's get these couple bolts here loosened up and we'll go ahead and pull the caliper off, and then I'll show you as far as taking your cable and all that jazz loose. All right, once you've got those off, it'll slide right off your rotor there. Don't be like me. You probably should take that one off first just in case it's tough to get loose. It shouldn't be super tough, but go ahead and take this one loose first. Yeah, it's super easy. I wouldn't worry about it too much. You just have more leverage if this is actually still mounted on there. And you can see that'll slide right out from under your little mount there. You're going to have to cut this piece anyway, but shouldn't have to do it to get this off. All right, then once you've got it out from under your little keeper there, you're going to unscrew your adjuster right here. I also meant to mention before you put these new ones on, make sure the adjuster up on your levers are all the way in so you've got full adjustment if you have to down the road. But this obviously just simply screws out from this little keeper right here. And this is the point where you're going to need to cut this little cap off of your brake line right here too. So just snip it off, nothing special to it. And then at that point, it'll just slide right out of the adjuster. Backtracking just a little bit, you actually didn't need to unscrew that adjuster at all. Once you clip that pin, it'll slide right out, or the metal part will slide right out. I thought I might need this stock adjuster, but now that I'm looking, it's got an adjuster on the new one. Now this new one also has its own mounting bracket here in case you need that for certain models. We shouldn't need that here, so the first step obviously is to get this caliper off this mounting bracket. All right, mounts off. The next thing I want to do is check it for fit before I run this cable through here as far as spacing. So pull your little safety thing out there. Be careful not to run this lever and mash your pads back together at this point. So obviously just center them right over your caliper there. And actually, I mean, that's perfect, I think. Yeah, that's perfect, y'all. That's absolutely perfect as far as, I mean, it's super close, but maybe, I mean, I think that's perfect. I think that's perfect. Let me pick y'all up and show you what I'm looking at here. So this here's what I'm actually looking at. If you can see there, I'm sure you can, the clearance from the top of that rotor to that brake caliper. I mean, it's definitely clear. And that's really what you want, because if you look through here, this might be tough to see. This is going to be very tough to see. But down in there, the brake pad is making absolutely perfect contact. If I brought it up some, I mean, it's like it's not down too far at all. So if I brought it up any, I'd be losing some surface contact. And then right there, I mean, you can hear nothing. It's absolutely free rolling. So I'm gonna actually leave it right there and get it all tightened down and see what it feels like and sounds like. All right, y'all, this is actually gonna be perfect. I wanted to show you too. You can see I've got them kind of loosely on there, and you can Obviously, I've got my bolts loose, but I wanted to show you just a really quick, easy way of most of the time to get your brakes centered. Just go ahead and spin your wheel, actuate your brake lever, and let it loose. Do it a couple times, and then hold it, and while you've got it held down, go ahead and tighten it up, and 9 times out of 10 that'll have it really centered where you're not having any kind of noise. You may have to do a little bit of adjustment, but again, 9 times out of 10 that'll get you right about where it needs to be. All right, I got it tightened down and centered. You can hear there, or you can't hear, I should say, which is actually a good thing. I mean, it's completely free spinning. That's what you want right there. If you can help it, you don't want any rotor scrape. I mean, your rotors may not be exactly true on most of these e-bikes, honestly. They're going to be a little bit warped in some places, so you might hear a little spin where it's catching. Try to get that out if at all possible, because any of that is taking power, it's robbing performance, speed, distance, and everything. So try to get totally silent if you can. Now our next step, of course, is dealing with the cable. So we've got to run it back through the adjuster right here and then under the keeper. Make sure your adjuster is all the way in, so that way if you get cable stretch, you've got all that room to adjust it. So easily just run it right through here. Be careful not to fray the end of your wire, because right now it's still exposed. So just as simple as that. You run it right through. That metal should, yeah, bottoms out in there. You could see that, I hope, bottomed out right in there, really nice and clean. And then the same thing here, just run it up under the keeper. I'm gonna push this all the way out just so I don't fray my wire. Make sure I got plenty of room to get up under it there. So up under the keeper there, and then just cinch this bolt right back down to hold your cable. I'm not gonna do it tight yet because I wanna make sure it's all the way pulled in there. And then once that's cinched down, we can put our little end cap on our cable so it don't get frayed there. Again, you can use anything really, fishing sinkers, just put some solder on the end, but these are very inexpensive and they do the job really well. So just put it on there and squeeze it down, and there you are, good to go. Kind of bend it out that way, so make sure you don't get any spokes, and that should be ready to go. So after that, yeah, we're buttoned up. That's completely done. We can give this thing a spin, and I'll squeeze the lever. Oh, and it locked down, and you can see lever off. No sound. Boom, lever right back on. And I have to put very minimal force on this thing now, so you talking about some serious upgrade to the stopping power. Now once you get this thing all buttoned up, if you feel like you may have left a little slack, or once you get a little bit of cable stretch and everything kind of settles in, obviously you can either use your lever or you can come down here and you can see I can actually take a little bit of slack. So I actually did take a little bit of slack out that I probably left just with the geometry of that line there. So that's a done deal. I'm gonna actually do the rear off of camera. It's exactly the same. I mean, in every single way, it's exactly the same. Same exact hookup, same exact caliber. So I'm gonna wrap that up and then we'll move on to that shock. All right, I've got the rear buttoned up here. I wanna show you something really quick. It went just as smooth, all except for this back end of this rotor was dragging on the caliper just a little bit as far as the clearance, like I explained to y'all, for getting it clearance with those spacers and washers. Now you can see it's really nice. I had to add a little washer right there, you can see, to bring it off of that rotor just a little bit. I didn't put anything on this side because it was fine here. May just be a little off in the geometry of those mounts or whatever. If you don't have washers and stuff like that laying around, you could have used the spacer off of the original bolt, because these bolts that I'm using are the bolts that come with these new calibers, the ones that are installed in it. They also send you an extra set, but these are the ones that are installed in these calipers when you get them. So as you can hear with this one, it is absolutely perfectly smooth. Again, no dragging at all, and it locks up nicely. Can't reach the lever from here, so I have to use it manually. And I think instead of turning this over to do the shock here, I'm gonna leave it upside down. Once I take this loose, obviously this part's gonna kind of drop down on me a little bit, but I can lift this up, I believe, easier than trying to lift it up when I've got it sitting on the ground. So we'll just do it upside down. Now you've got these same type of kind of button head fasteners on both sides, 5mm again, so same size as what you were just working with. I'm assuming one is a male bolt, and then the other one is a just a fastener, a receiver type fastener going through, but we'll find out. Now I'm actually going to put this thing facing like this with the big air part facing up, so it's not down here where you can't get to it. Both of these are the same width, so you should have no problem there. I'm actually going to put the air on that side so it's facing up. So first thing to do is going to be to break these 5mm bolts loose, so I'm going to get that taken care of right here, and we'll see what happens as far as the frame dropping. All right, let me show you what happened here. So as you can see, obviously once I pulled it loose, that just kind of sagged down a little bit. It didn't drop violently at all. It just actually just kind of set down real softly. Very simple to get those out. This side was that bolt right there, and then all the way through from the other side was this little receiver bolt. Now this was still in there, obviously, once I took the bolt out from this side. I just went around to the other side and put my socket on there and just spun it. Even though it's not threaded, it just kind of worked its way out. You may have to tap on something a little bit, but it came right out with no issue. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same with the front, and then I'll come back to y'all. All right, here's a quick look at this stock shock. Now, I mentioned being able to adjust this, and you actually can, but you really can't get it much looser than it already is from factory. So if you see here, as I loosen this thing up, I'll hold the shock shaft still. If you loosen it much at all, and then your spring's just free floating, and you lose all suspension. So they've got it at pretty much the loosest setting, even though there's some threads left showing. Now you can get it much stiffer, but you really wouldn't want it stiffer. So putting this new air shock in is just like the one that came out. Again, I'm gonna put it just like this. Boom, it's gonna fit there. I'm gonna put that bolt in, and then I'm gonna have to pick this up just a little bit to put that in. Now I'm gonna take the opportunity to grease this thing up really nice. I'm gonna put me some grease on each side where those plastic bushings are gonna be rubbing on the rail, and I'm gonna go ahead and grease up this inner bolt right here too. I'm just using some marine grease because this is what I had handy. You can use whatever. Wheel bearing grease, just regular all-purpose grease, just something to grease it up so you're not having any squeaking and creaking when you start riding. There you can see I just slathered some on both sides and then coated this little insert right here. So I'm going with this one again from the front right there so I can get to my air, and I'm gonna make sure my air insert thing is my Schrader valve. I should call it the right stuff. I need an extra hand over here. It's kind of hard to do things on both sides and try to keep the video in frame. There we go. Boom. All right, we're in right there. So now all I got to do is put the bolt in from this side. All right, we're tightened down there. I got the front eyelets greased up and got my insert there greased up. So now this is the point where we're going to have to lift this back up just a little bit. This might be actually a little... Uh-oh, there you go. That's the technique right there. I don't know if y'all saw that. Let's lift, lift the seat up and let this come down into place. There you go. Lift the seat on up. Let it come on down into place. Oh, a little too much, not that much. So this isn't difficult at all. I'm almost, boom, right there, I'm already in. So you can see it was just that easy, not hard at all. Now that we've got it held on here, should be very easy just to pull it up. There we go. Now we're all the way through there. All I got to do is put the bolt in. All right, I flipped this back over here. So quick little progress update. As you can see, brake in the rear, brake in the front, and we've got our air cylinder here now. If you look here at this paperwork that they sent with this shock, it says it's been filled, pre-filled 150 PSI. This thing can go up to 250 PSI max. And then it shows you some weights here and recommended PSIs. Me being about 205, 207, I mean, I should probably be around 180. This thing is at 150, but the thing is, I mean, I don't even have a pressure gauge that goes above 150. My compressor tank, my air gun on it only goes to 150. So I'm gonna put it on there right quick though, just out of curiosity, and see what it reads. Yeah, see, that's the thing. This is definitely at 150, but I don't have anything that goes above 150 PSI. All right, y'all, we've traveled ahead in time a couple of days for this clip here. I'm gonna set this over what was already done, with me fumbling around not knowing what I'm doing with this air shock basically. So what you have to do with these air shocks, some of y'all might know, some of you might not, you have to get these specialized air shock pumps like this. Your regular tire pumps, even your big old giant compressors, they're just not going to pump this up. Those are made for high volume. This is just made for really high pressure. As you can see, this thing goes up to 300. So just comes with your little hose here that screws onto your Schrader valve. Now this one has what's supposed supposed to be a little valve there, check valve, so you can keep from losing air. Basically what it does is just screw on, and then this pushes your Schrader valve in, and then it pops off when it's done. Still seems like it loses a little bit, but right now I've got it pumped up. I lifted it at about 190. Definitely a huge improvement. I won't bottom out. The reason I'm redoing this and I'm going to redo the test is it was bottoming out big time with me on the stock air setting. So I already know, just because I've already felt it, I want more than this, but you can see now, I mean, I'm not bottoming out any at all. I probably don't really have to add more than this. I mean, this is such a nice ride, y'all. Like that right there is like, oh, that's like riding on a cloud. And I mean, it's no bottoming out, but I want to just show you right quick to putting a little bit more. I'm gonna probably put another maybe 10 pounds, 15 pounds in it. So again, all you do is screw this right onto your Schrader valve here. Now, this thumb screw or this thumb valve can be really tight the tighter you get this, but I feel like you lose less air because I've noticed you still lose some air. They can say it's totally lossless, but it's really not. So I'm curious to see just how much we have lost here. Nice little swiveling hose on it. And then like I say, you take that and click it. And then I don't know how well y'all gonna be able to see that. I'll try to get the glare off. That looks like about 156, 180. So I lost about 10 pounds when I took it off before I started this. So now again, all you do here, it's not like all that pressure seems hard, and like it's basically just a little resistance right there. Just pump it a few times. I'm gonna go up to about 210. You can see there, I don't know if you'll be able to see with the glare. And I'm at 210 now, so when you get it where you want it, boom, you just pop that off and then take this right off your Schrader, and you'll listen to this right here. Yeah, see, I still lost a little tiny bit, but that should be pretty nice right there. Oh yeah, see, that's nice. There's no way I'm bottoming out. You know, that right there for me, again, I'm probably right now about 207, 205 to 210, somewhere in between there. I'm telling you, like in just regular bumps, oh, that's gonna feel like an absolute cloud, y'all. So enough of this right here. Let me move on through the video and then you'll see some test riding of it. All right, let's keep it going and get this adjustable stem installed. So this is very, very simple. I'll show you how it goes on. I'll show you what it is first. Adjustable bike stem. The brand is CXWXC. Again, I picked this off of Amazon, so I'll leave a link down below for it. There's tons of different brands of these, different heights and styles and all that. I just picked one that looked like it was fairly tall and would come back pretty far. So you just got to make sure it's the right size for your stem and for your handlebars. Now, as far as the installation for this, it's very simple. Getting the old one off, obviously you take your 4 bolts off there that's holding your handlebars on. Those come right off. You've got one little bolt right up under this plug. That's a 5mm. The rest of these are 4. So you're dealing with 4mm for the 4 on the front, 4mm for both of these is clamping it onto the stem, and then 5mm for the one that's going in the top. So off with the handlebars first. We'll get these 4 bolts off and then just let them kind of dangle there. They ain't gonna hurt nothing. And there's our handlebars loose. And then we'll get these on the stem loose. Take that out, take your little cap here right off. And then pop the riser right off. All right, let me show y'all something I goofed up on here. I forgot to take into account the height of my fork tube right here. And it's actually a little too long for this one right here. If you'll notice, I put them side by side here. I'm sure you can see right there. Definitely this one's smaller. So what I did, you just need more spacers. I just needed one more spacer the same size. So I actually just grabbed it off this other Aipas right here so it fits fine. I'll show you what happens if you don't, if it's not right, you'll see how far the tube comes up. And then if I try to put the cap on, obviously it won't work because the cap's meant to go like that. You can see. It just needs a little bit more. That's where the cap's supposed to be, so that's no good right there. So you put the spacer on, put that back on, boom, cap's good to go. So let me straighten these and get these tightened up, and then we'll put the handlebars back on. All right, we've got all those tightened back down, so let's put the bars up here. Oh yeah, plenty of room, no problem at all. So Put them up there and put our little cap back on over here. All right, check it out, y'all. I got it totally installed. I did end up kind of just swiveling my screen out of the way to get to these top or front two bolts. You can see they're pretty much right on the top right there. I did actually move this angle forward just 1, 2, because it was really close. So you can get this thing very close and very high up. Perfect fit, adding that spacer. I'll do some looking and see if I can find the right size spacer on Amazon and leave some links for that too if y'all are interested in this exact riser. All right, let's see what these upgrades did for us. We'll do the same thing as far as the brakes. Downhill. Oh yeah, y'all saw that. I was afraid to keep them locked up because I didn't want that front wheel to wash out on me. I mean, huge difference. Look at that, y'all. We'll do it again right here. Oh yeah, no, it's just night and day difference. So let's get up here. Well, we know it does the same as far as speed. Y'all, this thing is like riding on a cloud. I mean, but if I can tell you, it's probably gonna bottom out on me going up here or going back there through those trails and stuff, all those ruts. Shouldn't have lost any kind of speed. Nah, 17 mile an hour uphill still. So let's turn it around and we'll go downhill, hit the brakes at a real high speed, and then I'll go back to the back. All right, let's get it on up to speed. I tell you what, this new riding position, oh, it's so comfy. I'm not hunched over at all. Now, if you're looking for some good posture for exercise, this might not be the way. All right, let's see what we can do here. Whoo, yeah, see, I started washing sideways. I had to let off the brakes. I mean, this is a huge upgrade. This is a huge brake upgrade. Let's go to the back and see if this suspension can handle all these ruts back here. All right, let's see if we can get us a little test ride here. Got the drone out. I've got it set a little bit higher, so hopefully I can avoid any of these obstacles. I can tell you already though, I mean, this is night and day. This is now like the ultimate comfortable, like just exploring machine. This thing is really nice. I really didn't think there would be that big of a difference. I mean, I'm sitting down right now. There's no chance this thing's bottoming out, not a chance. I need to kind of go a little faster, but I really don't want my drone to get too lost. Let's give it a little boost right here. We'll get up here in a minute into some ruts. I can just tell you already though, this is so much different. So much different. I don't have to stand up. I mean, I was standing up out here with the other shock that came on it. But now let's see, here's a good test. Oh yeah, see, nothing. I'm not bottoming out at all. I'm getting some chain slap. Y'all can probably hear that. Oh, look at that, no bottoming out, y'all. I mean, this is really comfortable. Between that air shock and the riding position I've got now with this adjustable handlebar stem, this is super nice. Plus, boom, brakes to stop me whenever I need to. Let's ease it down these ruts right here a little bit. I don't want to go too crazy down through here. Wouldn't mind changing these tires to something with a little deeper tread, like not real aggressive knobbies, but these feel like they could wash out. I mean, all these Chow Yangs are that way though. They're fine, but you know, now that I've got it riding like a Cadillac, I mean, it's pretty interesting doing upgrades to these things anyway. To me, that's kind of part of the fun of them. Upgrading them if you need to or if you just want to. I mean, this thing rides so smooth now, y'all. Incredibly smooth. If I stood up, even more so. I mean, if you stand up, it's definitely got some chain slap to it, but I don't really think there's a whole lot you can do about that. But obviously, I mean, this is just night and day difference right here. All right, y'all, I think these were some very worthwhile upgrades for not a whole lot of cash. I mean, this just put this bike on the ultimate level right here. Again, just like it is stock, I think these Aipas bikes, these X1s, M1s and M2 X-Terrains are some of the best deals in e-bikes, under $1,000, under 950 bucks. For a powerful dual suspension e-bike, that is a very nice deal. But if you do already know you're gonna want these upgrades and don't wanna do it yourself, they are offering ordering now the Max version of these that has the hydraulic brakes and the air suspension already on it. You don't get that riser now, the stem, handlebar stem, which I think is an incredibly nice upgrade. That's one of the best upgrades to me, just because I'm a tall guy. And speaking of that, I did order some of my riser spacers where I had to get one off of another one. So I'll leave some links to all of the stuff that I use down in the comments. And a few last little things I want to show you before I wrap this up that I mentioned at the beginning. This is stuff I didn't install today, but you got that really nice Cloud C9 seat. I'm putting that on a different bike. The riser, obviously, I love that thing. Brakes are fantastic. Some side mirrors, I usually put these on things just after I decide what I'm going to be using. These are really, really nice. These small ones, very inexpensive. You can get a pair of them. And as you can see, these little studs right here expand. You just cut a little hole in the end of your grips in the rubber part. These go inside the grip. You tighten that up and it clamps right down. Fully adjustable and really nice and compact, so it's not taking up a bunch of room on your handlebar. Now you can also get a larger one if you want a larger size. It does the same thing, but I really like these over the ones that clamp to the bars because it's not taking up your bar space. I would highly recommend some tire repair and emergency type stuff. Definitely, as soon as I figure out which bikes I'm going to be using on a full-time basis, I'm going to be putting this flat out in the tires. That stuff's supposed to be fantastic. Have you some spare tubes, some spare Schrader valves, and the spoons to take your tires and stuff off, and a little bike repair kit. It's got some rubber cement, some patches and all that, so you could patch up a tube out on the road without having to take the wheel off. And then of course, to go with that, you want you some kind of little portable air compressor. This is a nice little compact one that's not so small that you can only get one tire. It holds your flexible tube there, you put it on the end, and you could probably pump up 6-8 tires with this thing, and it works as a little power bank, so I thought that was a pretty neat one. And then the last things here are a couple of bags or racks, boxes for the rear rack. This one right here, obviously, it's a hard rack. It lines right up with the bolts that come on these Aipas, so that one's really nice if you want something hard. I really, really like these kind of clamshell, semi-hard, softish ones though. It's got a couple straps to strap under the bottom. This one here goes on the front. These fit absolutely perfect. This is the larger size. I think this is the brand JX Fukao. You can get a lot of this stuff off of Aipas's site, but obviously it's more expensive. Same thing off of Amazon. I'll leave links to all this stuff below. And that's it for this one, y'all. I hope some of this helped somebody who wanted to do some of these upgrades. Again, if you're interested in any of this stuff, I'll leave the link for these Aipas bikes down below and my discount code under 950 bucks. That is an absolute steal for what you're getting with these e-bikes. And I'll leave the Amazon affiliate links down below for all these accessories. But I appreciate all y'all watching. I've got tons more really good stuff on the way, so make sure you stay on the lookout. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.